The annual revenue roundup is coming. We've got to get this fixed. Every year about this time, the annual revenue roundup comes, which is basically the Roadcheck 2022. So this truck's got some work that needs to get done on it, and I need to do some work on top of it too. So got to fix some electrical lights, go over some of the tires, and get the truck ready to have an APU put on it this next week. But first, we got to swap the seats out. The driver's seat's completely shot, and it's killing me. But the passenger seat's brand new because nobody ever rides in the truck. So we're going to swap the seats because these seats are about $3,000, give or take, a piece to order. And I'm not spending that kind of money. So let's start cleaning the thing out, and we'll get started. We're going to take the seats out. It's got these plates on it to move everything back, but I just found out where the air leak is, so hopefully I can fix that without too much pain. So we got to get these bolts out, and then once we get those bolts out, we got to drop all the air. Well, we got to take that seat out too over there. Sorry about the dirt. We're going to clean that. I'm going to go ahead and take these backing plates out of the truck. I've never liked them. I mean, I got to move the seat all the way forward to basically drive the thing. And if I put it all the way back, I'm in the sleeper. So I'm going to take them out because, well, they're obviously causing problems. So let's get these seats out and get them all unbolted, and we'll go from there. Well, we got it out, and there's been a development. Along with an IHOP coupon I found from, well, years ago, the quick disconnect broke, so we've got to run up to the truck center to see if we can get one of these while it's draining. Seat came out, but it's a mess, so we're going to have to run up to the truck center to see if we can find some of these, and while we're out, we'll get some more of these bolts, because I'm going to see if I can't put the truck back, or the seats back in the stock location. Okay, so we're on our way up to Wichita. We usually go to Peterbilt, but that place can kiss my white ass. Well, we're going to go up to Kansas Truck Center. I've dealt with them before, and they've got a few things like that, but we'll find what we need. We could still use that in a pinch, but it is broken, so I'd like to get a couple of new ones so we could get the airline where it's supposed to be. So let's get up here to the Kansas Truck Center. It's the Freightliner dealer, but they deal with everybody, so it's bad when I go to Freightliner to get my Peterbilt parts because I hate the Peterbilt dealer so much. All right, well, let's get to Wichita. I went and looked at the expiration date of the coupon under there, and it expired 12/31 of 16. So, I mean, it's not even a bonus at this point. It's just trash. You win some, you lose some. Well, we're here, and I'll check you in a minute, and I'll let you know how it went. Well, that was a bust. We got to go to Kenworth now, so we'll go see you up there. Well, we're back to the house. The quick disconnect was a bust, but I think I got something to fix it, so let's get the seats pulled out, and then we got to clean the floor, and then I got bolts, and we'll get on to the next things. Okay, so we got the seats out, Now while the seats are out, we're gonna clean a bunch of stuff out of the back, and then we gotta shampoo the carpet real quick, and then reinstall the seats. But let me show you what happened in here. So this is the mess on the floor. This is carpet. It looks like rubber mat, but it's probably not coming back. So let's get all this cleaned up, and then I'll have to get shampooing. So we got the green machine out, and I guess we'll start in the back, and then we'll do the passenger side, and then we'll just work our way out the driver's side. So let's get to that. Well, we're all done in here, and there's just a few things. I mean, we did get it to loosen up a little bit, but like where the washers were, there's been a lifetime of soda and water spilled on this, and I really, actually, if I wanted to do it right, I'd just pull the carpet, but I'm not going to. It's clean. I mean, we really got it good.
Ready.
So I guess we'll just be done with this for now, and get the seats put back in, and then we'll be on to the next thing. So it's been a couple of days. Rained a lot last 2 days, so one more day at home. But we did finish up a few things the other night, so let me show you what we did before we move on to the next thing. Get in this thing. Alright, and our clean floors are trashed, but we got the seats in and all that. It's a little closer than I would like. I was going to put the plate back in, but then I realized it won't fit. So this was the problem that we had. See where this is versus this. And it was being cut by this. So new seats are definitely on the agenda, but we got them in. And the leaks, we had to put new quick disconnects in. While it sounds like something that would be easy, it was not. I take that back. It wasn't hard, but it was very time consuming. Because of this piece right here, this piece had to come off, which is very hard to get off. There's 4 bolts, and there's one on top of here, here, and here. You know, I can access the one up through here, but this one I actually had to come in through the wheel well and over. I had a bunch of blind clip-on fasteners that kept falling off when you'd push the thing in, but the other side was fairly easy. Yeah, so much for clean truck. We can vacuum it back out, but we got to get all this out. But the airline, you can see, is right there in the middle of the truck. The problem is that it was right over the top of the exhaust, and I had to snake my hand in. I couldn't just go straight to it. But once I got under there and thoroughly covered in grease, popped it right out, slammed a new one in, and we had that done really quick. So let me show you what we're going to get to today. I think the weather should hold out because I'm hoping to leave tomorrow. So let me show you. Apart from cleaning up the interior, we have to clean all this stuff out here. It'll actually be really quick. I got the most of it out. It's just stuff you accumulate because the APU box is going to go right there, so I need to get the bulk of this junk out. And I also need to clean out this box because this is where the APU is going to sit. Right here. I might see if I can actually just take this box off, but that'll be the last thing. If I can't get the box broke loose, I'll just have it done up at the shop. It's really not that important, just as long as everything's cleaned out for them. And one of the final things I'm going to do is that tail light needs to be completely rewired, and new mud flaps. I bought new mud flaps last winter, but I didn't want to put them on until the weather got better. So weather's better, so we're going to put them on. What I'm going to do though is put together a small toolbox for the truck, just to have some basic tools while everything else is cleaned out, till I can put a lot of this stuff back in. But first, we're gonna jump in the Oldsmobile here, fill it up, and go hunt some breakfast. So we'll see you here in a bit. All right, so before you all say you're gonna regret taking that plate out for the seat and all that, let me get something straight. I already do regret taking it out. And guess what? I figured out a way to make it work. I mean, good night. Did they build these trucks for midgets? I mean, seriously, without that plate, with the seat all the way back, you're driving, it's horrible. There's no way to stretch out. There's no way to relax. There's no way to be comfortable. So plate went back in. It only took a few seconds, and I didn't even have to unhook anything. Just pull the main mounting bolt, slide the plate under it, drop it back. As for the airline, I cut enough away out of there to where it's really not pinching right now. It's a little loose, but it will eventually have to be dealt with. But we're going to do that when we change the seats out, because I got a feeling probably by the end of the year, or maybe the first of next year, I'm going to get rid of both the seats, and we're going to get two really nice seats in there. With Roadcheck, it's all about the nuances. So I'm going to show you something that can get you in trouble, and it's an easy fix. Right here on this, if you look real carefully, the shieldings come out and the bare wires are kind of exposed. All you really have to do, you don't have to replace this, just unscrew this, shove this back in, and this is a basically a torque collar. Just pushes it down, creates friction, and it should hold all of this in. It's not that hard, and it's an easy fix, but if they see the exposed wires, they can make trouble for you. If you see in, you can see the wires, but if I push this in, you can see the green shielding come up. So we'll get the green shielding back up in there and push this in with this little screw here. It just kind of fits right in. And there we are. It's tightened and screwed in, and I pushed it in a little further, so she's good. So changing mud flaps is easy. I changed these out not too long ago, and they're 9/16 nuts and 19/16 screws. That way I can use a box end on one side and a ratchet with a little bit of an extension and all that on the other. I prefer to use the same size, that way I can get to it from either direction. And the extension is because, well, I'm prone to banging my knuckles. So we'll get these pulled off, and then we'll set up the new mud flaps before we hang them. We got to put the weights on. As with everything, there's always one that'll give you pain, so just take your time. And that's my painful one right here, but I still haven't done the other side, so let's get both of these off, and then we'll start on the new flaps. Let me show you what I got. This is kind of neat. I like stuff like this, so these mud flaps are pretty cool. So these are the new mud flaps here. They're OEM Peterbilt, and these are the hangers. I'm making basically the exact same setup that was on the truck before, but just freshening it up, brand new. So we'll get these put on while they're on the ground, and he's got these little square bolts here to hold these in, and we'll show you how to do that. Comes with the top plate here. It's got the backing plate for the back side, and it comes with all the hardware. So what you really want to do first is just line this up with the bottom here, make sure it's even, and this is where your bolts are going to go. So what you do is you just get a drill bit like this, stick it right through here, and just open it up. You don't even have to do it power, it's rubber, it'll go right through. And then when you're done there, you got to open up all of these, and I do that with a knife.
And it's just that easy. The problem is, if you snug them like you're supposed to, they kind of dimple a little bit, but that's what happens when you get them tight. It is cheap thin metal, but for the most part, it'll look good. So let's get the other one up and we'll get them put on the truck. Putting these things on can be a little tricky. See how these things spread like that? Well, they're supposed to. But you start on the close end here, and you get your bolt in, you get your nut, and you can just kind of work it in and start sucking it in as you go down. And this will close up and make it easy. Also, you got your little drill. It's not going to line up. Just drill through the holes, and it'll be just fine. Here's the old and after. Truthfully, if I wasn't filming, these right here would have taken a total of 10 minutes to do everything. It was real easy. Sometimes when the bolts seize, they just break off. Make sure you have a bunch of extra bolts, but for the most part, on, off, and if I'd had power tools, it would have been a 3-minute job. That's not really a DOT thing, but it does make the truck look better, and a clean truck gets you a little nicer praise. But also that it depends on what state you're in as whether mud flaps is a fine or not. Kansas, not so much. Colorado, it's a $41 fine. Ask me how I know. One of the things that'll get you looked at is hanging wires. These fell down, so I'm going to re-secure these with some new zip ties. You can see I've done it before, so I'm going to re-secure these on the back side this time, and that ought to be good to hold these. These will, if they see these hanging, they're going to look a little closer, so just keep them up. Now I'm probably going to get a little heat for this, but when I put these on, I never bother to crimp them with wire crimpers, and there's a very real reason for that. It's because these right here, they're cheap. They're so cheaply made, they always break right here, and if every time you crimp them, you lose wire. And I replace these so often that I want to keep all the wire I can on the truck. Just putting these together, this was $2.60. That's how cheap it was. I bought like 4 of them, so I'm gonna check and make sure the connections are good, and then if they just need cleaned up, I'll just put them back, because this does work. It's just giving me fits, so I'll tear it apart and look. But that's why I don't really crimp them, because, well, they're just cheap. Part of the problem is that these lights actually spin inside these. They're not supposed to, but they do, and everything here gets all twisted up. So let me untwist this and see what I can do, and that may just be the problem right there. If that's the problem, I'm going to clean it up with some brake clean and clean up that back there, and I'll just put it back together, and hopefully that's what the problem was. Problem solved. Let's not make this any more complicated than it has to be. This is the problem with these aftermarket lights. See, this one really doesn't spin at all, but this one, pretty good. So you just kind of have to deal with it. You probably put some silicone or something back there to hold it. I really don't want to, but let's plug this in and see if the light's any better. Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, it works, and that's all we really want. Sometimes with this electrical stuff, we make it a lot harder than it is. Yes, we do want to fix it right, but sometimes when it works, all you're doing is opening a can of worms. You saw the seats. What I didn't show when I put the new fittings in, I did put new brass fittings in, was I was up with the drop light till about 11 o'clock the other night before the rain started, trying to get everything put back together. Didn't have anybody to film it, and it was just more important for me to get the truck back together before I started sitting. It rained hard, man. There was a river running between the houses here. It was more important for me to get the truck put back together than it was to film. So let's get all this cleaned up. Got to get my toolbox put together, and we're going to get ready for the APU. I'm going to take this box out because this is where the APU is going, but truthfully, I think I'm just going to leave this alone. I can hopefully leave the box at the shop for a couple weeks till I get ready to go home, and then I'll just strap it to the other side. Sometimes if you know where they're working, yeah, you can make it easier for them, but sometimes you thinking you're helping just makes things worse. So I'm going to leave this alone for now, and then I'll revisit that later. So at the end, you know, with anything, it's important to clean up. And if you've seen my garage and been watching my videos, you know that usually doesn't rate high on the list. But I'm running out of space, and I've got to get the Oldsmobile in. I've got to get that into this spot. But this is all the stuff that came out of the truck. But we've got to take all the basic tools here and put them in that little box there. I carry a lot of stuff with me, and most of it never gets used. So I decided to take a bunch of it out, go through it all. Probably not this time, but I'm going to put all the cleaning stuff and all the extra stuff on the shelves and get it all ready to go. Put this little toolbox together. That way if something happens, we can still maybe fix something. All the loose stuff is probably going to stay, but we need to take stuff like this. That's going to go. And something like this, that's going to go. And just your bare basic hand tools. And these are for reefers in case they go down. But we're going to take the socket sets and just the wrenches. But everything else is probably going to end up on this shelf. So we got the truck fixed. Got the truck moved. Everything's good. Right here, though, you're looking at the reason why I don't ever park the truck in the driveway. That, and that, and that, and that. And where my front wheels were, because, well, it's all evenly spaced. Regular non-commercial driveways were never intended for the weight of semis. But, sometimes. But the driveway's pretty boogered up, so I guess it is what it is. But we got the garage clean. Well, kinda. The Oldsmobile's piled on, but not as badly as normal. It's getting time to start getting ready to go in the morning. So I just thought I'd do this little video about getting your truck ready. You know, you fix stuff. A lot of times, a lot of these things to fix, they're not hard to fix. They're just time consuming. And I had a drink somewhere. And they just take a little bit of time and a little bit of sheer tyranny of will sometimes. But you know, it's not bad. I guess I'll have to make me a new drink. It's not bad. You just have to put your best foot forward and try it. You'll never know if you can do it until you do try it. Putting those quick disconnects in, they kind of sucked. It took a lot of time. It wasn't hard. But it took a little time and took a little bit of, you know, gumption and patience. That's what it took. Everything else, you know, the mud flaps, everything else, they went together great also. I guess my drink will never be found. So, what's the point of all this? The point is this. These things can't be helped. You can take them to a shop, just to change those quick disconnects, take it to a shop and have all that work done. That would have been $500-600 in maybe 2 to 3 days. I got it done in a couple hours. I could have got it done a whole lot sooner if I had just done it to begin with. And a day, on my day off. You know, nobody likes really working on the truck on their day off, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have to. I saved a lot of money there. But not only that, the mud flaps, the electrical, all the other stuff that needs to happen, we got all that taken care of too. It's not big stuff, but it's stuff that gets people looking at other stuff. And with Roadcheck week coming, it's very important that you have your stuff in order. You need to be square on this. Don't give them anything worth looking at. If you see a line hanging, tie it up. If you got a mud flap torn, replace it. Just little things like that. I got put out of service one time back in 2009 because the guy didn't like the trailer tire. He got looking, found something in my log he didn't like. There was a lot of things in my log he didn't like, but put me out of service, which resulted in a very, very long trip to Florida. Because I was in Indiana, I had to go to Shelby, Iowa, and then back to Florida, and I had 4 days to do it. And I was on day one, and it was 6 o'clock at night. But all that aside, it is what it is. Take care of yourself. Watch your truck. and do what you need to do. I don't know what's going on in trucking right now with speed limiters and regulations and fuel. Things are getting harder. Things are getting really hard. Let's not make it any harder than it has to be. Let's take care of ourselves, do our best to take care of each other out here, and really try to do the best job that we can, because we're not out here for funsies. We're out here to make money. And these guys are making it hard. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. And, help each other out when you can. So take care of yourself. We'll see you next video. Thanks for watching.